Hi there, Aquarius. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl, and we're looking at November 2nd through November 8th. Venus has an important meetup this week before it changes signs. And the good news is that Venus is changing signs and moving into Libra, your fellow air sign, and your ninth house of overseas travel, spirituality, and higher education. So it's going to be a much easier time for you over the next couple of weeks. Next week, Mars, the planet of energy and passion, moves into the same part of your chart and joins up with Venus. So you're going, as I said, things are going to be very good for those of you who have been thinking about traveling or wanting to book a ticket or wanting to find someone to travel with or anything along those lines, because you'll definitely be able to do so. Unlike the previous two meetings in Aries and Leo, Venus and Mars are meeting up in Virgo, which really is a stubborn sign, and it's your eighth house of investments and joint resources. So for those of you who have been dealing with that over the past month, you're a stubborn sign too. You're the stubborn air sign. It could finally be time to sign off or to work out whatever differences you have with somebody and make sure that the deal goes through or doesn't go through, depending on what you think it should do. Sometimes in business, Aquarius, you tend to be rather aloof and you don't necessarily want to discuss everything or go on all the lunches and the meetings that usually correspond with getting involved with other people. However, it's a really good idea going forward with Venus and Mars in Libra that you do that you are more involved and more vocal. And if you have a choice between being brutally honest, which is your usual choice, or kind and diplomatic, and maybe even a little passive aggressive, choose the latter, Aquarius. This is not the time for you to say exactly what's on your mind. It's not going to work out the way you want it to work out. It's going to probably backfire and blow up in your face, as they say. If you've been thinking of traveling overseas, booking tickets, staying with people, etc., November is a great time for you to do so, even if it's just booking the tickets, because obviously as we get towards the holidays, if you're in the US, it's Thanksgiving, and if you're in Australia and Europe, it's other holidays, So it's definitely a time for you to get online. If anyone's good at being savvy, getting tickets and all that at the last minute at good prices, it's you, Aquarius. So go on and do that. And, there's always Airbnb and vrbo.com, those wonderful sites where you can find last minute accommodation. People rent out their houses and apartments or rooms in their houses and apartments, and you get to get a real feel for a place you're visiting rather than staring at the, grisly carpet and wallpaper and curtains in a hotel room. Have a wonderful week. Great speaking to you, and I'll speak to you again next week.